Hi everyone, it's Jerry. I have a must-know game to share with you. This was played in 1874. On the white end, Victor Knorre playing against Mikhail Chigorin. Okay, the opening we have here, Italian game. And after these first 6 moves, what do we have here? Well, a very common position. In the Lichess database alone, there are over 272,000 games with this position. Even if you've only been playing chess for 1 week, there's a good chance you've been in this position here or something very close to it. We're told early on to castle, we have that. We're told to develop the minor pieces, we have that as well. Also, we know that pins can be irritating. Let's see how black handles this pin. First, it's h6, pin is maintained, and now g5. In the game, bishop g3 is played. I want to touch on briefly this sacrifice on g5. It is not working, especially in positions like these where the king has not yet committed to the king's side. You can follow up here with rook g8 to bother the pinning piece. And what is white supposed to do here? If you back off, bishop h3 is a move, working on the pinned g2 pawn. If the bishop is supported, you could go in for this exchange sacrifice, and this is overwhelming for black. The 2 minor pieces outweigh the rook big time. Nearby, knight f4, queen takes g5. You may not even need the rook as a contributor, because all minor pieces, along with the queen, are ready to crush the white king that is without a single adequate defender on the king side. Okay, so that wouldn't be working. This sacrifice of a knight for 2 pawns, rook g8 is follow-up. One other cool variation here. If the bishop is supported in this line with queen d2, here's your way out of the pin. Queen d7, which sets up a sneaky checkmate idea. If the knight is picked up here, there's a rook sacrifice, and white in the end is going to be getting crushed on the light squares. How would you defend mate here on g2? This isn't going to change much. There would only be one way to cover g2, and that is with queen g5, but now there would be an issue on the back rank. This is leading straight to mate, with bishop captures f2, queen d1, and queen captures rook, ball game. So we have no worries, in short, if white tries to sacrifice the knight all the way back here on this g5 square. What is best? The move in the game, bishop g3. Follow up now, h5. Pop quiz. How would you respond here? Feel free to pause the video. Okay, in the game, knight captures g5 is played. White's going in for that sensitive f7 square. This is losing for white. About 16,000 games are in the Lichess database with this position. Only 23% came up with the top move. This is that top move, h4. Now, in response to this, this is what the computer has its eye on, bishop g4 or knight h7. I'm more drawn to knight h7 in this position. I like this idea of opening up f6 for the queen. It also sort of seems like it's strictly defensive, and you could, as white here, simply continue to develop with knight c3. If knight c3, black would already be winning because of the idea of next bishop g4 and knight d4 hammering away at that pinned knight. One of the top moves for white in this position is to anticipate an eventual knight d4 jump. It likes this idea of c3, cutting out the knight jump, and also gearing up for a d4 break. This is where you can continue here with queen f6, at least putting up some fight over that advance to d4. At the end of this line, it's calling it about plus 0.5. It's still a ball game, still a lot of potential for black to generate threats towards this white king. Okay, that's a best move at this stage, h4. Here's another move that is faulty for white. Here's a move that will get crushed. Seeing that h4 is ready to trap the bishop, big difference here between h4 and h3. If you go with h3, white gets pushed around with h4 and g4. And what do you do now? You take the pawn, black's recapturing, developing, pinning. Big problem there for white. Winning position for black. If knight g5 in this position, you could ignore the threat on f7. You could go ahead and capture on h3. Bishop takes, knight takes. Let's see each. Knight takes, queen goes here. Knight takes rook, queen goes there, threatening mate. And there isn't a great way to parry the mate. Queen f3 runs into knight d4. Queen is kicked from its defense of g2. Big problem here for white. Also, if in this position after the capture on h3, bishop captures pawn check, no problem, the king steps up. After this recapture, there's rook g8, working on this pin. Chop, chop, the knight is pinned, unprotected, and there wouldn't be a way, to defend the knight and break the pin. So what would be right around the corner there for black is knight h7. Eventually, black will be playing with two minor pieces versus the rook, a decisive advantage for black. Okay, how it plays out in this one. In response to h5, white picks up the g-pawn. Follow up from here, h4. Knight captures f7. And from here, black goes ahead and captures the bishop. Now, this isn't considered decisive. With best play, black is still going to be for choice. Good luck to white finding this best line. It says best is to go ahead and save the queen. In the game, Chigorin here gives up the queen. This here is considered top, to save the queen and then track the bishop. And from here, we're looking at queen h7, knight g4 ideas. Big problem here on these dark squares. White without a dark square bishop now, and an unopposed, very active dark square bishop converging on f2. Big trouble here for white. This idea is in the air, possible mate on h7. Okay, that's a top line right here at this stage here after knight captures f7. But how Chigorin plays it, goes ahead and takes the bishop, gives up the queen. Follow up now, only move here for black, bishop g4. From here, queen d2. And now knight d4. Pop quiz. How would you respond here? Feel free to pause the video. Okay, there's only one move that keeps white in the game, does not spot it. In the game, knight c3 is played. Here's the top move, h3. Now, in response to h3, there's knight e2 check, and white must give the queen back. If the king moves here, it'll be checkmate in 2. Rook captures h3, and these 7 points alone are enough to do the job. Okay, the queen would have to give herself up at this stage, and in the end, it's saying that the evaluation is about minus 0.7. There's a problem here, it says with best play knight c3, giving up the exchange. Here's the thing. Here's another mate that could surface. If white saves the rook here, well, you're going to end up losing the king to this sacrifice yet again on h3. 7 points, yet again, enough to give mate. Okay. Anything else to cover? Well, yes. One other detail here. After knight d4, if white tries, not this top move h3, if white touches this f-pawn, goes with the capture or any of the pushes, it'll be a checkmate in 2. In fact, black has a pick between 2 mate in 2s. So let's see what that looks like. This is really asking for trouble. Knight f3, double check, followed up with rook captures h2 as mate. Or the fancier one, in my opinion, knight e2 with double check, and knight captures g3, taking advantage of the pin. Okay, how it is played in this game. After knight d4, we see knight c3, white covers e2, that's true, but underestimates this other intersection square, f3. The knight hops to it with check. If you move the king, you're getting mated. Pawn captures, knight follows, and after bishop captures pawn, white resigns. There's no stopping the mate. The mate threat here, pawn captures pawn, game over. What are you supposed to do about that? You run away with the rook? Well, you're not going to run too far. Pawn captures, king moves, and you promote to a queen or a rook for mate. And here's the detail. If you take with the pawn, we would have rook, corner pocket for mate. So, very brief game here. Important one, though. Many little variations flicked in throughout. This game here, one to certainly revisit. Very popular position right here. 6 moves in out of this Italian game. Anyhow, what are your thoughts with this one? Feel free as usual to leave any feedback to this video in the comment section below. I hope you enjoyed it and maybe took a thing or two away. That's all for now. Take care.